May 11, 2021, 7 p.m. Members are present, Councilor Selena Reyes and Councilor Gonzalez, and the chair, myself, Estela Reyes. Pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12, 2020, order suspended certain provision of the open meeting law, General Law, Section 38, Chapter 38, Section 18, on the Governor's March 15, 2020, ordering imposing a strict limitation on the number of people that might gathering in one place. This meeting is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of the member of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access to the proceeding as provided for in the order. A reminder that the person who would like to listen to view this meeting while in progress may do use any of the following access locations: Facebook Lawrence City Council page and YouTube Lawrence City Council page. Maria, roll call.
Okay, roll call. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Present.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor, we have no minutes to approve at this meeting. So, Councilor, can I get a motion to take document 85-21 out of order?
Make a motion.
Second.
The motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, roll
Document-
call.
Yes, roll call, sorry.
Roll call for document 85-21 that was taken out of order. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, Councilor, for supporting my motion to take document 85-21, which is a home rule petition to legislatively recognizing Jacob G. Easy, and has been put on the agenda by Councilor Abdul. So, Councilor Abdul, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the Ordinance Committee. I appreciate you allowing me to speak this evening, and I do really appreciate you taking this item out of order. I believe by my roll call that all 5 of Lawrence Police Officer Jacob Easey's daughters are with us this evening. Stephanie, Sharon, Donna, Sheila, and Jackie. And I believe 1 or 2 of them would like to speak. And I thought it would be appropriate maybe to read the cover letter, but not the entire home rule petition, and then hear from the family.
Okay.
So if it's okay with you, Madam Chair, I'll just read a few paragraphs in the cover letter, which encapsulates Officer Easey's why we're here this evening. The home rule petition is intended to legislatively classify Lawrence Patrolman Jacob G. Easey's death on May 11th, 1993 as killed in the line of duty, without providing any additional retroactive benefits to his survivors as a result of their status. Jacob Easey was appointed a reserve member of the Lawrence Police Department on November 3rd, 1963, leading to his appointment as a regular patrolman on June 23rd, 1968. Officer Easey continuously, honorably, and meritoriously served the Lawrence Police Department for over 25 years until his service-related death in 1993. At approximately 6:37 a.m. on September 21st, 1986, while responding to an incident of domestic violence and attempting to subdue a suspect, Officer Easey was attacked by the individual. He received multiple wounds to his head and lost consciousness. Officer Easey was immediately transported to the emergency room for the treatment of his injuries. He required emergency brain surgery, at which time a portion of his brain was removed. He was in a coma which led to intensive care and left him physically and mentally disabled at that time. Officer Easy's retirement records deem his death to be natural and proximate result of the personal injuries sustained or hazards undergone while the performance of his duties without serious and willful misconduct on his part. It goes on with the necessary language to detail Officer Easy's passing. He would pass a few years later, and what this home rule petition asks, beginning with you tonight, asks that you look upon the home rule petition favorably. To the family is looking for nothing more than the recognition which we all know is due Officer Easy. He died in the line of duty, and what your initial action this evening will do is to put that on the record and through a home rule petition, make it a special law, and so that he can receive the honors and recognition rightfully due him for 28 years as of today. And so with that, I would just like to close my comments and turn it to the family. I also am a neighbor of Mr. and Mrs. Easy and the Easy family. I grew up on one side of them. I got married and moved to the other side of them. True story. I went from the right side to the left side. And this was a man that I grew up with in the 70s and 80s. And he was Mr. Easy, and he was the local police officer. And he was someone I saw at school. He was someone I saw next door in the neighborhood. And if, as a kid, you don't pay a lot of attention to what adults do for work. I knew he was a police officer, and that was cool. And he raised 5 daughters and a family that he made sure, they went to school at St. Pat's, and they grew up in the neighborhood, and it was just a great neighborhood to be part of as a child. And Mr. Easy was a big piece of that fabric. And Officer Easy, it's an honor for me today to be able to sponsor this and be able to turn it over to the family for their comments. And I want to do so now. So, Madam Chair, through you, I pass back to you, Madam Chair.
You have the floor, Councilor Abdul. I'm just gonna let you handle the way you think, and thank you, even though I'm not part of the family, but thank you for those kind words. So you have the floor. Just introduce us, whoever you think it will be first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I again have a roll call that we're all on. Jackie, are you going to speak for the family, or Donna?
Yes, this is Jackie. I would like to speak on behalf of the family, if I may.
Please,
Yes.
Jackie, it's all yours.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm the oldest of 5 daughters that my father had. And I do want to thank you because this is important to us. As David did mention, my father has been passed away. It's been 28 years today. And we all miss him very much. Speaking on behalf of the 5 daughters, my mom, Elaine Easy, and his 8 grandchildren. We just are appreciating this opportunity and grateful that our father will receive the recognition that he deserves. He was a police officer for over 25 years, while our mother is still alive. She's 85, so we will be so happy that she would be able to see this while she's still with us. My father was a lifelong resident of Lawrence and very proud to be a police officer. He was one of 8 children himself, and growing up, being raised by his mom, his parents were separated, and he wanted to do good and be a good person. So that was part of why he became a police officer. So he was always very proud of that. And his family was important to him, and he did the best he could for us. Like David mentioned, he worked hard to send us to Catholic schools. And my mom still lives in the same home today, neighbors with David. So she's been in Lawrence all that time. And again, thank you so much for this. We'll be very happy to see our dad get the recognition he deserved. When he passed, I was 8 months pregnant, and with the first boy born to our family, being one of 5 daughters. My father would joke saying that he had to work the night shift as a police officer because he couldn't get into the bathroom during the day with all the girls around. But thank you very much for this opportunity, and we appreciate everything that you have done for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Abdul, anyone else that you want?
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak this evening? I would also recognize Officer Cuddy, who I believe is Stephanie Easey's, formerly Stephanie Easey's classmate at St. Patrick's. I got it right. I'm getting the thumbs up. Officer Cuddy, sir.
Okay. New faces, right?
Tommy, your volume. Tom, you're muted, Tom.
How about now? Am I good?
Excellent.
All right. So I, like Councilor Abdu, grew up with the EC family. Sharon was actually my classmate. She was way smarter than I was. But all I'll say on behalf of the police department, that many of you were part of the last 2 of these we've done, and had Officer EC's death happen now, it would have been treated much differently than it was when he passed away. There was Gene Scanlon, Officer Gene Scanlon, who you approved, and Jeremiah O'Connor, that was from like the 1950s, you approved, and as did the Massachusetts State Legislature. So this is the right thing to do. It was well deserved. And it's just an honor to be part of the process.
Thank you, Tom. As Tom stated, we all went to school with an EC daughter or two, and I want to make sure we identify all of them that are with us this evening, even if they're not going to speak. And Sheila EC Robershaw is with us. Donna EC, Sharon McDowell, Sharon EC McDowell, and Stephanie EC. I think it's a Hearn, if I get that correctly. If not, I'm sorry, Stephanie. All 5 daughters grew up next door, and Tom and I were fortunate enough, as well as Eileen O'Connor, whom you know as Eileen Burnell as well. And so we come tonight in thankfulness. I also want to acknowledge the help, the work that Officer Cuddy and Eileen have done behind the scenes to get us to this point. I would close by stating that, like Officer Cuddy said, this would probably be handled a lot differently today. Probably might, at least in my opinion, not need this process, but we do. And I respectfully request your consideration. I hope that if you have questions, that you ask them tonight, and that we begin the process of educating ourselves and our colleagues, and anticipation of this first step towards recognizing Officer EC for the hero that he was. Madam Chair, with that, I rest.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Abdul, for taking the initiative just to recognize. I know there has been 28 years as of today, and sometimes we wish to see things or this type of home rule petition done before time. But I think this is a great time. Thank you. And thank you for the families to be present with us. Sometimes, when we don't know those history, we don't know much to say and recognize those heroes that we had behind that we don't have enough information. So I'm open for any question. I don't think I can ask this question more on this to say in public that I'm in favor just to pass this item. Okay, Councilor Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul. I was here when that happened. I've been in City of Lawrence for 45 years and was sad. And that's a good thing that you do and recognize somebody that was a police officer. That he will deserve it. Like I say, I support it 200%, sir. Thank you, Mr. Abdul.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
So we also want to recognize the President's Officer Cardi. We haven't seen him in a while. I think we have to go back live just to see those faces. Also, our former Councilor Arlene Bernard. I know that she's also present and she want to be part of that. Well-deserved, as my colleague was saying, but more than that, thank you both for speak up and just to be the faces and the words for that family. Well, any further motion to send it with favor recommendation?
Yes.
Second.
The motion has been made, properly seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion. Did everyone say aye?
Yes.
Okay, motion to send document 8521 to the full council with favorable recommendation. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes, twice.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Thank you all for being here and wish you the best.
Thank you
Thank
very
you, Madam
much.
Chair.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are gonna go to the top of the agenda. So the first document is document 7221. It's a handicap parking at 32 Jackson Street. It has been put on the agenda by Joesmi Cabrera. Can I get a motion to table and send the document to Offices Cano?
Motion.
The motion has been made. Councilor Reyes, you're mute. Okay.
I second it.
Okay. The motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for document 7221 that was sent to Officer Cano and table the item as well. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay. Okay, so the next document is document 7521 is request to locate poles, wire and fixtures at National Grid and Verizon pole number 1016-50 intersection of Chandler and Water Street. Is anyone for National Grid? Oh, yeah, Mr. Boucher.
Yep.
Floor is yours. Good evening, sir.
Oh, okay. David Boucher, Senior Designer, National Grid, 1101 Turnpike Street, North Andover. On the document and drawing that we sent you, what we're asking for is new jointly owned pole 1016-50, as shown in the drawing. Right now, the property there has a transformer, and they're asking for more power, and we cannot just tap off the transformer that's on the property. The amount of power they're asking for is a lot, and what we need to do is serve it from its own pole from our primary line on the street. And with the new pole location, if it's passed, once we go to the city council meeting after this meeting, it would enable us to go forward with the project and get the power that the customer is asking for from the street and the new pole location.
Okay, so you are going to locate a new poles, or you're going to be working with the existing one, or is adding a new one?
We are asking for a new pole location 1016-50.
Okay.
As it's shown in the drawing,
Mhm.
it's the circle with
Yes.
nothing in it. That's that, and if you look in the lower left, the legend shows you that that's a proposed location, and that's what we're looking for, the one location for a new pole, replace a new pole, install a new pole owned by National Grid and Verizon in that location, so that we could go underground, overhead to a
Okay.
pole on the property.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're going to be blocking the traffic, or that is something that you don't necessarily have to do it?
The pole location is on the sidewalk as it's shown, and we would go about the procedures of getting a police officer if needed, so that the traffic continues to flow as usual.
Okay.
Anytime we work in the street. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So is any councilor has any question?
No question, Madam Chair.
No question. I mean, basically, this is nothing new that we haven't been passed in the past. And so the motion will be to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Document 7521 was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation and to order public hearing. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed 3-0 votes. Thank you.
Okay, so the next document is document 76-21, request to locate poles, wire, and fixture, National Grid and Verizon, so pole Short Street. Mr. Brochus?
It's Boucher.
Boucher,
It's pole 3 that we're asking for, as shown in the drawing. Right now on Short Street, it's about halfway between a pole that is on pole number 6 on Short Street and pole number 4, right near the intersection of Chestnut Street. What we're doing in the area is on Oak Street, we're taking all the conductors down, all the overhead wires and the poles over there, so that there's a project going on over there. And with that, the lines that come in front, it's kind of like off the picture, but if you just picture Oak Street south of there in the bottom part of the picture, it's in the back of the old Oliver School. I don't know what it's called nowadays, but that's what it was when I was a boy. Anyway, all the conductors and the feed that goes up to that pole number 4, along with a couple of other poles, are being taken away. And in order to bring electricity back to those poles, because there are some lights on them, we need to go from the pole on the top of the picture, pole 6, pole 4, and it's a long stretch. It's probably 250 feet. We don't go that long between poles, so we need the extra pole between the 2 poles, and that would be pole 3 as shown. It's just the circular pole with a circle, and that's a solely owned pole too. It's not owned by Verizon. It's just for the electricity, so that it can get down that street and light up the street lights that are on the poles. And if you see fit, it will go to the meeting for the city council when that happens. If you have any questions, I can try to answer.
Okay, Okay, so no, you had mentioned about about school, Mr. Boucher. You say there was a school there and when you was a boy. So tell us about that.
The Oliver School, that's what it was called, right there on Haverhill Street,
Okay,
right next to the old high school.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, and back of that is Oak Street.
yes.
Yeah, and that's the area they're taking the wires down from. Yeah, when I was I don't know what it's called. It's probably a different name school now, if the building even exists over there anymore. But it was I believe it was a junior high school back in the
Oh, yeah, yes,
1970s
yes.
and earlier. Yeah, yeah.
So no, we just want to know how long back you remember this city. Do you grow up in this city?
I did. Grew up on Tower Hill. I moved out of Lawrence in the late 80s, early 90s, but I spent 25, almost 30 years there.
Wow.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
to know that. Good to know that you know your city.
Yeah. I know with the job that I do, I know the entire Merrimack Valley, along with Lawrence, especially Greater Lawrence in general, though. You know, Lawrence, Methuen, Andover, North Andover, Boxford, Drake. I mean, those have been my areas for the last 20 years with the company. So, but I remember a lot about little stuff that probably doesn't matter too much, but
Out
yep.
of curiosity, so when they ask you to work in Lawrence, you don't need to use a GPS just to go to those places, right?
You got that about right. Some of the streets I don't remember. There are little alleys and stuff, but I think I've been to every single street in Lawrence in my day. Let's just say that.
Wow, that has to be nice just to go back and come back to work to the city that you grew up with,
Yeah.
and the people that you probably remember being in the city, and is nice. So we always want to welcome whoever do not live in Lawrence but want to continue working with us.
Oh, that's very nice. Nice of you to say. It's an immigrant city, and there's a lot of things about it that I'm still learning. A friend of mine does a lot of research into the past, 100 years ago, and he told me some things about like Lawrence that I didn't know about, and it's interesting. There's a lot
What
of
was
different
that? What
things
was
that have
that? We want to
occurred.
know.
Well, I mean, some of the things, the bread and roses things, and some I didn't know that the Immigrant City archives that are on I believe it's on Mill Street, Mill and Methuen Street. There's a building over there that has all the history, which is I've only been there once, but it's a place that I think is interesting to go to see some of the things that they have there, some of the old things from the factories and whatnot that and a lot of the history of the mills themselves and how people came from far away. My grandparents came down from Canada to work in Lawrence because there was no work in Canada.
Wow.
About 100 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
Back in the late 1920s, my grandparents came from there, and they didn't speak English. They speak very little English, and when I grew up as a boy, I heard French in the house. I know more Spanish because I grew up in Lawrence, though. Well, I had a few friends that I don't know too much Spanish anymore, but I did know a lot when I was a kid. Let's just say that I've lost it over the years, but so it's interesting. I'm rambling here, but
I know that
it's nice to talk to you a little.
I know that you can get a lot of Spanish if we start talking in Spanish, but it's always nice to know that if we need to communicate with you, language is not going to be any barrier.
Well, I would understand what you say, but I couldn't talk back to you. That's kind of how much I know. I don't know too much.
At least you got the message. So that's
Yep.
the most important thing. So I'm looking for a motion to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly seconds, all those in favor.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for document 7621 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation to order public hearing. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes,
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion pass.
Thank you, Mr. Boucher.
Okay, thank you.
They will let you know when they're gonna be publicized, and they will contact you to be present to our next city council meeting.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next document is document 8221. Can I get a motion to table document 8221?
8221.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Can I hear a second?
table,
Yeah, motion to table has been made properly second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Document 8221 was tabled by Councilor Selena Reyes and seconded by Councilor Jorge Gonzalez. Roll call. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
yes,
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion pass.
thank you. Document 8321 is to propose to change administrative fee for municipal board. Councilor, can I get a motion to send document 8321 in table to planning board?
Motion to approve.
Can I hear a second?
second,
The motion has been made to table and send the document to planning board. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
The ayes have it.
Okay, roll call for document 8321 that was tabled and also sent to the planning board. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
yes,
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion pass.
thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to take document 69, I'm sorry, 6921 out of table? No, actually, this is not a table. This is a new document. I think it has been added. The motion, okay, it's a handicap parking delete. Can I get a motion to send document 6921 for withdrawal? To
make
delete?
it motion,
It's not for withdrawal, it's to send it to favor recommendation to order a public hearing. So you
Make
heard the motion? Is to
Yes.
send favor recommendation to order public hearing.
yes,
I say second.
A motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
aye,
The ayes have it.
Roll call for document 6921 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation and to order public hearing. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
yes,
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion pass.
Okay, so just to take it out of table, I'm gonna be taking the next 4 items, and just to be continued, not to make a motion one by one. So the motion that I'm gonna be about to make or asking to make is just to take it as a block out of the table, but we have to go one by one. Can I get a motion to take document 6221, 6321, 6621, and 6721 out of table items?
make a motion to,
Second.
Motion has been made properly second to take it as a block for the purpose of only to take it out of table. Okay, the motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
The ayes have it.
Roll call for documents 6221, 6321, 6621, and 6721 that were taken as a block and out of table. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes,
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion pass.
Okay. So, Officer Cano. So you have to unmute yourself. Okay. So the first document 6221.
Good evening, counselors. How are you tonight? Hope everyone's well
Yes.
and welcome back to our meetings. I have 4 documents. The first one is 6221, and that is for a handicap parking request. This is in front of 28 Border Street. The request was in regards to a request by our Counselor David C. Abdu on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Joan and Paul Croteau. Mrs. and Mr. Joan and Paul Croteau. I was able to go to that location and I noticed that the street, first of all, is very small. It's very limited in the width of how much vehicles and homes are there. And they have no driveway at all. Apparently, both through the documentation that was provided, they are both handicapped, and they're requesting for 1 space in front of their home, which I definitely do recommend if the council will allow me to give my recommendation for the measurements. So I recommend placing the sign for the following, which is from the southeast corner of Tyler Street on Border Street, traveling south to a point 415 feet. And then from the southeast corner of Tyler Street on Border Street, traveling south to a point 435 feet. So the location of the sign will be on the east side of Border Street in front of 28, right in front of their fence and their home. The street is a very strange street because it goes from Newton Street one way basically, and then it does a U shape or a horseshoe shape onto Tyler Street. So the closest point of the corner was on Tyler Street, and that's why I used that reference first, and I went downward versus upward. So if the council would, I definitely recommend for them to be able to have a space for handicap parking.
I know that we also have Councilor Abdul. I don't know if he wished to add any comments or question. Councilor Abdul?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, Officer Cano did an outstanding job, as he always does, representing the facts, and his opinion is appreciated, as indeed Border is I believe it's 13 or 14 feet wide based on zoning board items we've had a couple months ago. So it is narrow, and parking is hard to come by. Mr. and Mrs. Croteau are in their 80s. Each has the documented healthcare issues, and it is pretty straightforward, and I have nothing further. So I would appreciate your consideration and thank Officer Cano for going out there and doing what he does. It's appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the handicap is going to be placed right in front of their house, Officer Cano, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I don't have any further question. If the other councilor don't have a question, I'm looking for a motion to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing.
make a motion to send it.
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Roll call for document 6221 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation and order public hearing. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passed.
thank you. Thank you, Councilor Abdul.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the Ordinance Committee.
Always speaking up for your constituents. I know that they really appreciate your presence. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next document is 6321, Officer Cano.
Document 6321, I would like to just briefly say that if it's possible to table this matter, I had put forth some documentation, and what happened was I went to the location, and when I did go, I wasn't able to get a hold of Mr. Rivera, Jose Rivera. He's a gentleman that requested the handicap space in front of 120. So if I may explain.
Yes, yes,
Okay, so the house 120 is a duplex, so it's 120 and 122. It's set back at least 50 feet from the public street and sidewalk.
Officer Cano.
Yes,
Let me just ask Councilor Abdul. Are you still with us?
Having muting issues. Here I am.
Okay.
Sorry.
120 is part of your district, right?
That is correct. It is
Okay.
the northerly district of Newton Street up by Kingston.
Okay. So, okay, Officer Cano, I know that you probably want him to get involved since you asking for table this item.
yes,
Okay.
I wanted to confer, thank you. I wanted to confer with him and also with Mr. Felix Garcia, our city engineer. So the house is set back at least 25 to, I'd say about 50 feet from the street. And it's a duplex, and alongside that duplex, there's another duplex, which is 116 and 118. If you move forward towards the street, you have two houses on both sides. So now you have an easement that goes from the street, sidewalk, all the way to the back. And there is spaces for cars to be parked. And when I looked at the location, I saw that there was a car parked in front of the residence. There are a few issues that I took into consideration. And because I wasn't able to speak with him, I was under the impression that he was all set. He called me this evening at about 4:30, and he was telling me that he was having some medical complications with his health, and he wished to be able to speak with me and give me some information. We talked at length, but I wanted to go by the residents and also with the counselor and perhaps the engineer so that we could take a look at the area and better gauge his situation and see how we can accommodate him. So with that in mind, I was hoping that we can table this matter so that I can go ahead and take another look at that situation and give him an opportunity.
Okay, so at this point, I think what you have to do is just to, I know that Councilor Abdul always like to get involved in whatever is happening in his district. So he can pass by and just to take a look, give his opinion, as well as the city engineer, since that you had mentioned that the house is in the back, it's not right in front of the street. So we have to make sure that whatever measurements we are going to be taking is going to be safe, because we don't want to place something in a private property. This is not something that the city have to do, but if Councilor Abdul can get involved and talk to the resident, he might can help you understand if that's something that we can do it in his district. Councilor Abdul, you have any question?
I Madam Chair, I have no questions. I appreciate that. And I believe Officer Cano and I have a date later this week to visit another address, which is only about a block away. So maybe we can, or I could stop by on my way to meet the officer, or we can go together afterwards, but absolutely.
Yeah, so I encourage you both that whenever that is going to happen, you can get in touch with the resident so you can grab more information, whether that this is a private property or if that's something that is doable as the city. Because we know one, like I say, we can't pass something on the private properties. Okay,
Very good. Thank you.
so, okay. Motion to table document 6321.
Unmoved.
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, document 6321 was tabled. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay. Document 66 and 67, Officer Cano. Can we take it as a block or you want to treat it as individual?
You can take it as a block because it's consistent with what it's basically two items into one.
Okay, so that's what I think it will be easier. Can I get a motion to take document 66 and 67 as a block?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made properly second to take 66 and 67 as a block since they are similar documents. Roll call.
Roll call for document 6721 and 6621 that were taken as a block. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay, Officer Khan.
Thank you. So if I may draw a picture for you so that you can understand a little bit. I
Please.
was able to meet Counselor Dela Cruz and the owner of Ulloa Shipping at the location of their business, which is 274 Prospect Street. It's a large driveway. Part of it is fenced halfway through the middle. And you have at least 50 feet from the street and sidewalk over to the warehouse section. Prospect Street is very congested in itself because of the location and the amount of residents and houses. So what's happening is that on both sides of the street, when the large tractor trailer trucks go to deliver the materials that they are either shipping out for export or shipping in and taking in, it's very difficult for these trucks to be able to maneuver. They basically need the whole side of the whole street in order to be able to turn and then leave, turn in and then leave. So what they were requesting, if possible, was to see if from their side of the street, they can have the whole length of their driveway so that there's no parking. The opposite side of the street, there's a commercial property, and that's located at number 267 Prospect Street, which is item number 67. And that side, from that driveway, the edge of the driveway to a telephone pole, which is basically 20 feet, they were requesting, which is a car length space, they were requesting no parking there, so that the truck will be able to do a swing going out and then in to the driveway for your shipping. And then again, when they're leaving, they're able to leave safely without getting into any accidents. They did express to me the fact that they do get deliveries and they make deliveries basically during the whole day and night. They could have shipment coming in at 12 midnight, 3 in the morning. different hours of the day. So they have to have that space accessible. When I took a look, I did do the dimensions and measurements, and I do recommend that this be allowed if the council sees fit. And I don't think it would place a burden on the neighbors and other residents just on these spaces alone. I'm going to give my measurements regarding the
Before you
spaces.
excuse me, before you continue, so we are looking for a 1-car length. We're not taking the whole street, the whole space, because I want to be clear. And I also want that all the counselors understand, because I know that while you was passing your report, I was able to look at it into the Google map, and that is a very busy street. That's one. Second, I don't recall, but I think it's 3 houses that they have no parking, no driveway that they can park. So as a counselor, and this is not my district, but I want to make sure that we all gonna be in the same page, that we're not gonna be affecting the resident. I'm in favor to support the businesses, and I understand that since it is a very busy street, we have to make sure that we're not passing something from ordinance and then we got caught at the full council level. I know that you did. I know that you are recommended just because, as you has mentioned, you know, the truck need to swing in and out and back, but we have to make sure that we're not taking space from the resident, because sometimes, you know, and this is that had nothing to do with you, but sometimes we have to make sure that whenever we are going to be having a businesses in a residential area, is many factors that we need to make sure that is going to be affecting. So I'm not, you know, I don't want to deny all this point. I think, you know, it's fair. I think it's going to be appropriate for, you know, for us just to take some time, visit the area to make sure that even if we have to ask you just to kind of measure in front and just to tell them in case that after we pass an item, we don't start receiving any calls, because this is what is happening. Even if we publicize this item, people always playing like, you know, I never heard of this, how that happened. Once we pass it, we have to wait a year in order to make any changes. So I want to be in favor for both parties, for the businesses as well as for the resident. So I'm not sure if the other counselors, they want to take the opportunity before we pass to make sure that we all going to be in favor and we are going to be okay. Especially, you know, Councilor Selena Reyes, she is a large. If she start receiving the phone calls in the meantime, because this is what has been happening, literally, we pass something, then when we have the item at the full council level, everybody's playing like this is the first time they heard that. So nothing to do with you, Officer Cano, but I know that you're doing whatever you are supposed to be doing. But at this time, I want my counselor to have the opportunity to visit the area. We are taking 2 spaces, 1 for each size, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we have to make sure, and that's going to be all day long, 24/7, right?
That's correct.
So, Counselor, I just want to hear from you. So do you feel comfortable to table and just to have the opportunity to visit that area? And I mean, we had the measure here, the officer kind of already went. He's recommended just because he want, as he explained, but we want to make sure that we're going to be safe in both sides. Right? So motion to table both documents.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Because Councilor De La Cruz is not here with us tonight. So I'm just looking to table as a block document 66 and 67, 21.
So move.
Can I hear a
Second.
second?
Second,
Motion to table document 66 and 67 has been made and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
The ayes have it.
Roll call for documents 6621 and 6721. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
yes,
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Officer Cano, I think that's it for you tonight, right?
Well, I have one more that I believe may be in the following. I would like to also table.
Okay, so do you have the document number?
231-18.
231-18. Okay, so I have to take it out of the table because it's already tabled, but do you want to give any information about that item? I have to make a motion to take it out of table if you have information that you need to pass on.
Yes,
Is that, okay, so can I get a motion to take document 231-18 out of table?
So move.
yes,
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
The ayes have it.
Roll call for document 231-18 that was taken out of table matters. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
yes,
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay, Officer Cano.
thank you. So originally, this item came up as an issue, a request back in June of 2018.
Mhm.
The applicant is Mrs. Maria Suero. She's and also I just want to make reference that Counselor Selena Reyes is requesting on behalf of this constituent for a no parking or 15-minute parking rather in front of her residence. She is
Councilor
a,
Estela Reyes, because the Reyes that you see in the back in 18, it was Councilor Estela Reyes, but you know, I can share with my sister. That's fine. You may continue.
thank you, duly corrected. Time flies.
Okay.
And so she's a daycare provider and she was requesting a 15-minute parking in front of her daycare or her, which is her residence. I understand the reasons for the request. I did go by there. I spoke to her. I took a look at the street. What's happening with that particular street is like very often and very common in our city now because of the amount of vehicles, amount of residents. It's heavily populated. It's a very congested street. And not only that, but now we're having issues with vehicles that are commercial vehicles that are under 10,000 pounds. So it's very difficult for us to be able to address as often as we would like. Now we have vehicles that don't meet the requirement of commercial. So now they're very big cars and trucks, vans that have regular plates. And when you have that, and then they park in front of your home and they're taking up both sides of the street, if you're trying to address the issue as far as how to safely come out of your driveway, it's becoming an issue more and more. It's becoming a topic. With Mrs. Suero, she was concerned and she wanted a 15-minute parking for her drop off and pick up for her kids when they're getting delivered and picked up by their parents or a small school bus. The issue that I looked at and I'm putting it tabled, I wish to remain tabled is because I want to address it properly with the city councilor and also with the engineer, city engineer, and take another look at the situation. So another aspect of the issue is that vehicles are parking too close to a driveway. So they're basically aligning themselves with the edge of the curb where it meets the street. And that doesn't give any wiggle room for someone to pull out and be able to look in both ways for traffic that's incoming when you have a series of cars. So I'm in talks trying to figure a way that we can resolve at least these issues. And I've addressed and I've asked her, look, I know that perhaps in the past you've called and maybe the issue hasn't been addressed as quickly as you like, or perhaps in a satisfactory way. But at this moment, I can't take away from the street to give you 15 minutes for 1 hour in the morning and in the afternoon when you have 2 driveways for your residents. I think that you need, I expressed to her that she can call me and we can address it. She can also call the police station. We do tow for anyone that blocks or partially blocks or completely blocks any driveway in the city. No one's allowed to block an alleyway or a driveway. And there's no question about the fact that the police will take into account and take measures in order to address the matter quickly. So I need a little bit more time to be able to address this in a way that it's going to satisfy the need that she has as a constituent and as a resident and as a business owner, and also supply safety for her and the kids and the parents that are dropping off and picking up their children. So this is something that I don't want to rush to make a decision. And I also don't want to encumber the residents that need that space and parking and then have to worry about getting ticket or towed because they're violating a 15-minute within 1 hour space. So there's a lot that needs to be taken into consideration. And I just want to give the best that we can give in light of the situation.
Thank you. This is what we needed just to, I know that sometime if it's in my district, only myself get involved, but now we are working very closely with the councilors at large. And the reason that I want to involve everyone is because we are 9 in total. Sometimes we are passing items, just exactly what the similar items that we just tabled. I think it's only fair for us just to take the opportunity to help you that when you are bring a recommendation, we all gonna be in favor and we all gonna be aware what we are passing. Because again, we are going to one side, but we are just taken away from the other side. So we all need to be working together. This is a network. This is something that if Selena, myself, Councilor Gonzalez, and Councilor Abdul want to pass by, it doesn't matter that it's not in your district, but at least you have an idea that when you bring something to our attention, we need to take the time. I think we are all called to be part of that. We decided to represent our citizen, our constituents, but the most important thing is the safety for our city. We're not gonna be putting anyone in jeopardy. We're not looking just to kind of deny some parking space when she's entitled to have. But I know very well that area. We have a stop sign, and we also have another street that I wish we can do some more for that street, Bruce Street. The people fly over, as you has mentioned it, it's going to be very difficult for someone back up from the driveway, blocking the view when cars flying over. Very familiar with the area. I encourage all the counselors to pass by and help you, give you feedback, that how we are going to be working with. Very nice of you that you decided not to say, okay, I will not recommend it, just to leave it open for us to work with you, because from now on, this is how we need to work with our community, with our constituents, get involved, have the sense that if we are going to be passing something, we know what we are doing. Councilor Gonzalez and Councilor Selena, I'm sure that you want to be taking, I know Councilor Selena, she's familiar with the area as well. But the mean that you know the area, that doesn't mean that you know the parking issue. Sometimes you just pass by, you just go for, few minutes, but you don't know the reality, because we have to hear from others how this is affecting. But it's something that caught my attention that you just has mentioned. How do you say that is commercial vehicle parking in that area? That's a residential area. So how do they parking over there? So what are you talking about with commercial vehicle?
Well, the city has an ordinance for any vehicle that's commercial, that's over 10,000 pounds or over, that's not allowed to park on a residential street at any time unless they're delivering or picking up or doing deliveries of whatever nature. It could be a tow truck, it could be a large school bus, it could be anything that's over 10,000 pounds. There's huge delivery trucks, the box trucks, that are more commonly seen now in the street. Now, there's vehicles that are less than 10,000 pounds, but they have commercial plates, but they're large vehicles. And most commonly, you'll see that this interchanges with the vans, large vans, the passenger vans that are 6 or more. And some have a commercial plate and some don't, but they're under 10,000 pounds. But they're huge. They're very big and they take up a lot of space. And what we're seeing is people are perhaps running a business of delivery or transportation right out of the home. And they're calling that their base. So they'll have a good example right on Bruce Street, as a matter of fact, since we're on that topic. A lady has a transportation business, and it's not she wouldn't tell me whether or not she's running it out of her business, but she has 4 vans on the street, taking up 4 space. Each van takes at least a car and a half. And, her response was, well, these are not commercial plates, they're regular plates. My vehicle's under 10,000 pounds, and I really don't have to give you an answer whether my business is here or not. And, I run the plate, it comes back to her in her house. So how do we deal with this issue when we know that there's residents that rightfully should? And what I was explained is, look, the residents have already complained, and they said, the workers come in the morning, they park their car where the van is. And when they come back at the end of the day, they put their van where the car is and they go home with their vehicle.
Oh.
So they're not violating the 72-hour rule, for 36-hour rule, which is when you leave a vehicle for 36 hours on a parking space, you're susceptible to be, because you're abandoning the vehicle per se, it could be towed. We try to work with the community to help them. I think our role is to educate the community and to try and help them understand that we all have an important part in keeping our community safe and well. And if you have a business, I think that the business vehicle should be at a location where you have a business. But with the pandemic and everything else that's happened, I can understand how people have created and evolved through this hardship. But I think that we have a responsibility also as a community to work with these individuals and explain to them, look, we need to find a way that everyone has an equal opportunity and not take space from individuals that are just trying to get by, as far as normal vehicles that don't take up so much space.
Yeah, but this is not something new for them, because I remember when they used to come in front of us, Ordinance Committee, we repeated more than 5 times. They needed commercial space to park all the vehicle. So they have to provide an address where the vehicles is going to be parking that is not going to be in a residential space. I think we have to look into it because that is also not fair. I understand now the reason that you want us to get involved, and for someone to be parking 4 vans in the street, they are taking most likely like 7 or 8 space for any residents to park their cars in front of the houses. So that's something that we need to look into it. Again, I think last year, it was a very difficult year for us just to be on the street talking to people. But now that things to go in different directions and better for good, that we are going to be having that opportunity that has been taken away last year. I think we all, and not because this is election year, I think we have to get involved. There's so many things, as I has mentioned it to you and to everyone before, Lawrence has overpopulated. We're not the city that it has like 30 years ago. So 30 years ago, I remember was like very few vehicles transiting in the street. This is not our current situation anymore. Since we have no longer the same city, we have to work with the reality. But most important is just to work with our community to educate them. So what is fair for one, it has to be fair for everyone. And if you want to continue operating, we have to put something in place. I know that we have ordinance in place that commercial vehicle is not allowed to be parking in a residential vehicle, but it's like you say, they know the trick. Then if she gave you that answer, is because she's being looked into, or someone has been passing that information to her, because not everyone have that information by head. So she's been looking at it, and even with the insurance company. So we have to work with whoever we need to work, but someone have to take accountability that whatever is happening, because the reality is that we have to face that reality with us. Sometimes we don't even have the answer. We have to look into it. We can't just continue passing and passing without know what we are passing. And for what I'm seeing is when they want something, they come in front of us, they make all the promise and committed to comply with everything. Once we pass it, no one follow up with them. We shouldn't. We don't have time to go and follow anyone's, because if you come in front of us and say this is what we have to do, and you committed to say in public, I'm assume that I'm taking your words. This is not happening anymore. So thank you for that information. We have to work on that. Councilor Selena Reyes, Councilor Gonzalez, and I know Councilor Abdul is still with us. I encourage you, to all of you, to pass by 212 Bruce Street, and just to pass by any day, any given day, anytime, just pass by and give Officer Cano your feedback. So that way we all gonna be together in whatever we are passing. At the end of the day, we can pass it or move it from ordinance committee, but when it goes to the city council level, everyone has the same equal opportunity to say yes or not, but at least everybody's going to be on the same page. Can I get a motion? If any councilor has any question for Officer Cano before I call the motion to table? Here none. Can I get a motion? You do? Okay.
Motion to table?
Motion to table document 231-18. Can I
Second.
hear? Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Roll call for document 231-18 that was tabled. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay. Councilor, any table item that you wish to take it at this time? Okay, I hear none. Motion to adjourn.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Counselor.
Uh-huh.
I have one more.
You have one more. Okay.
You want to get
so
rid of me today. I
what
don't know
was-
why.
What was your plan? Just to keep us until 10? Councilor Gonzalez, so Councilor Selena, say something. So he just planning to keep us until 10. So what would it be your next item? Because we need to take we need to make a motion to take out of table.
And now I know why you like to be in charge.
boss,
It feels
the
good.
boss, the boss.
The boss.
You're gonna get in trouble.
I'll take it for once.
Okay, so what would it be your next item?
The next item I would like to present is 5721.
Okay, can I get a motion to take document 5721 out of table?
Make a motion.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, roll call for document 5721 that was taken out of table matters. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion pass.
Okay. Officer Connell.
Thank you. This will be the last one, so I hate to disappoint you, but yes.
Okay.
All right. So I wanted to just mention briefly and table item 5721, which is winter parking, Trenton Street, alternate side parking ordinance. I did speak to the city engineer, Felix Garcia Jr., and we are still working on this matter. And we're not ready to make any kind of decisions because outside of that expertise, there's also the assessment that's being done. So that's not complete. So he asked me to make sure that I request for it to be tabled so that we can continue diligently working and making sure that we are able to address this appropriately. So with your
Okay.
permission, Madam Chair and Councilor Jorge Gonzalez and Councilor Selena Reyes, and we'd appreciate that.
Everybody like you. I don't think you have to get into just to kind of be on top of all of your items. I know that that was one of the items, and I was hoping for you to forget not to bring any information for us, just to kind of bring and say something whenever we have our next meeting. But you on top, and you got this one. Thank you for all the work that you are doing, that you had already done. Thank you for that information. That is something that is well appreciated from us. At least we know that I remember that we have a neighborhood meeting and we discussed about this specific street. At least whenever we have to go back with them, we are going to have a permanent solution. We're not going to bring something that in few months we have to revisit just because it's not working. Really appreciate all that information. At least you don't leave us blank, that we have something to pass on. I don't know. I know that that was Councilor Selena was part of that too. So we are going to table the item. Can I get a motion to table document 5721?
Motion to table?
Second.
Motion has been made, properly seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
One more.
No, I just wanted to say thank you to also,
Yeah, but we have to do a roll call first. Maria, roll call just to table that 5721.
Okay, roll call for documents 5721 that was tabled. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes,
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay, so Officer Cano, I hope that you don't come out with another item that you want to take out of table. You say that that was the last one.
no, that was the last one. I just wanted to say thank you. And I just want you to know that I did my homework. And I just
We
wanted
all
to
know that. We all
Also-
know that. Thank you, thank you.
also that I just wanted to express my appreciation for inspectional services from Director Mike Armano, as well as the other counselors, the other inspectors. I've been working hand in hand with, we've been very busy in the city. And I think that for those that are watching, we want to always request that if you see something, say something. It's the best way that we can help in making our city safer, making our city better. And know that we as a collective, as an organization, as a city, we care and we want you to know that we're here for you. And I think that this is something that it's not just saying it. I think that the work that's being done throughout the city, throughout the departments, and my fellow coworkers, I think that I'm very, very appreciative, very blessed to be able to say that we work together and we are moving forward, and we're going to make the city better. So thank you all.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Abdul, for being with us today. Maria,
Thank you.
word
Yes.
to thank you. John, always on top, keep us in check. Thank you all for being with us. Motion to adjourn.
no.
Okay.
I think he want to be alone.
Yeah.
We had to work with the kind of
Well,
Motion to approve.
okay.
second.
Motion to adjourn, it has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call to adjourn at 8:22 p.m. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion
Thank you.
passed.
Thank you all for being here tonight. Very good meeting, and see you next time.
Good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Have a
Good
good night.
evening.
John,
night.
Good evening.
thank you.
Good night, sir.
Thank
Night.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.